Like Lee works as security for the courthouse, so
There you go.
so many things.
All right, Sheila, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can, yes. All right. The time is 7 p.m. and I will call this meeting to order. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Reichel,
Here?
Pro Tem Hanrahan,
Here.
Trustee Brentnall,
Here.
Trustee Klassen,
Here.
Trustee Engelhardt,
Here.
Trustee Poston,
Here.
Trustee Seifert.
Here.
All right, may we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. All right, be seated. The first item on tonight's agenda is public comments. Persons desiring to make a public comment on items not on the agenda, please activate the raised hand function in the meeting program. Or Sheila, any phone calls or emails in regards to non-agenda items?
No, I have not heard from anyone.
Okay,
I do not show any raised hands, Mr. Mayor.
thank you. Do you have anyone signed in the chambers?
Falling down on the job, sorry.
All right, that's all right.
We have Michael Berteau and Lindsay Williams that have signed up to speak regarding, Michael Berteau is speaking on speeding and lift up.
All right,
Good evening.
good evening. If you could state your name and address for the record.
Michael Berteau, 675 North 7th Street, Silt.
All right, the floor is yours.
I noticed a couple meetings ago you had a citizen come in here and talk about speeding. I wanted to come in and affirm that he was right. And there is an excessive speeding. If you know where I live, across from the park up on 7th Street, the hill is just above me. So when I come out my driveway, I always have to come to a complete stop and look up the hill before proceeding out. Well, it was recently that occurred. I made my right-hand turn out onto 7th. And you know, you usually start out at 5-10 miles an hour before you accelerate up to 25. Well, it wasn't 2 seconds before some car was running right up my old tailpipe. And then he passed me. And I'd never been passed before in Silt. And he passed me just so we could turn left onto Orchard to go down that way and go whatever was happening down there. So I wanted to tell you that if the police wanted to catch some speeders, all they have to do is park it down at the bottom of Skyview Drive there to come down from the cemetery. It would be for the officer monitoring the speed. It'd be like fishing in a barrel. Mm-hmm. They could catch a lot of speeders for municipal court revenue since it's budget season. And congratulations on budget season. Your mom must be so happy.
Oh, yes.
I was inspired actually last meeting by Trustee Seifert's question about the council line item budget. And the manager said, well, that's not just your salaries, but it's also some marketing. And it's also some discretionary funds that you might spend in the community. Well, my main reason for being here is because of the Lift Up organization. You may have read in the paper that Lift Up has, because of funding, budget constraints, whatever, has having to sell 2 of their buildings, one in Rifle, one in Parachute, just to have funds to operate and to serve the community needs. And as you are probably aware, the town of Silt gives to Lift Up on Wednesdays of each week parking in the town park driveway there so that they can operate from 9 to 12. And in the morning on Wednesday, the cars are lined up before 9 o'clock, before they open up. And on average, I asked the volunteers, on average, they serve a minimum of 30 cars, 30 vehicles a day, and they only operate from 9 to noon. And 30 is the low number. And each car probably at least represents 2 people. I never see a person alone in a car when I'm walking or hiking through the park. They come with 2 trucks. One is a truck full of produce. One is a truck that has refrigerated facilities in them so that they can have some fresh food that's perishable to hand out. But they mostly get, is that my 3 minutes?
It is. Yes.
I'll try to be faster. They try to get everybody served. I don't know if they're serving just Town of Silt people or if they also serve people who live in the unincorporated county. Not that it matters, because we're really one larger community, even for those people who live outside. I'm going to suggest that if you have discretionary funds, they might consider a donation to Lift Up. Now, I don't represent them. They don't know that I'm here. They didn't ask me to come here. It's just what I notice because I live right across the street. And if you gave them $100 a week or $5,200 a year for them to operate those 2 trucks that need gas, tires, maintenance, a driver, I think that person is probably a staff member. I think it would go a long way to helping not only an organization that's struggling due to whether it's national or state issues, financial issues. I think it would really go a long way it would be a good attaboy for you guys and gals to help this organization. I think that's about all. Often we're unaware of those people who are living on the margins, and they're some of our own citizens that are having difficulties. So I hope you would consider that. And they may be coming in on their own. I spoke to a board member of theirs and gave them the manager's address and how to get a hold of you and how to make a submission. So I hope that he carries through in that, but I don't know. So I had to go and take action of my own. Thank you for your time, and here comes another planning and zoning.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay. Lindsay's up.
Lindsay Williams is here as well.
And Jim, did you put that on a note for us to discuss that during budget
We will.
discussion? Okay, great. Thank you.
Good evening. You
Hi.
State your name and the address for the record, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay Williams. I live at 258 South Golden Drive. My comments tonight are as a private citizen in the town of Silt. As always, thank you for your time spent in service to our community. There were 3 agenda items in particular tonight that I had some thoughts on that I wanted to share. You guys have a pretty packed agenda. First, the Garfield Clean Energy presentation and request for support. One of the initiatives that GCE has supported over the past several years that's been wildly successful is their Re-Energize program, providing home energy audits and energy efficiency rebates to our residents, making up to 150% of AMI. Through this program, I was able to get an energy audit of my home done for low cost and provided a list of priority projects to tackle to make my home more energy efficient. It's a great program, and with the recent county decision to pull back on their funding due to lower FMLD funding, I wanted to show my support for this important program for our community. Second on the agenda that I wanted to address was the Highwater Farms year-end review. 2 years ago, I was a member of Highwater Farms and appreciated having a local option to buy locally grown fruits and vegetables, and I think they're a great addition to our rich agricultural tradition here in Silt. Lastly, I wanted to comment on the Community Transportation Needs Assessment that you'll be hearing about from Western Colorado Alliance. I've seen firsthand the amount of work that Hannah and her team have put into collecting survey responses about our growing transportation needs in Silt. From the assessment in Silt, 63% of us work in a different community than this one, including myself. I also noticed the concerns about safety and infrastructure address Silt specifically, and I'm glad the town has made recent efforts at our roundabout to add more signage and lighting for pedestrians. I see that almost every morning on my way to work. Our eventual pedestrian bridge will add even better mobility to our south of the highway residents. The last line of the report I found to be the most impactful. The community is at a point where they would likely be supportive of several different options to move the issue forward. I hope the commissioners invite this as a call to action to more meaningfully address transportation in Silt. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I think we can pull up some extra chairs towards the back.
Yeah, we can.
Morgan?
That should be good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Is that all for the
That is all that was signed up.
Okay, thank you. All right, always appreciate have citizens come in to talk, so thank you guys very much. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, which contains the minutes of the September 22nd, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting. Item number 2, resolution number 38, series 2025, a resolution of the Board of Trustees directing opioid settlement funds to be donated to Youth Zone. And resolution number 39, series 2025, a resolution of the Board of Trustees appointing Derek Gress as the interim chief of police for the town of Silt, Colorado. Would anyone like to discuss any of those separately, or anyone to make a
I
motion?
just have a question on the resolution for the temporary chief. Did he give us, I don't know how you want to put it, any temporary, I mean, any time frame? I mean, a minimum, he'd give us 90 days, or?
He did not, he knows it's an open-ended,
So there really is no,
yeah,
okay, I'm just curious.
Employment at will.
yes. But it's he knows that it's open-ended pending a decision on, future of the department in terms of where we're gonna go and whether we're gonna hire a new chief,
Okay.
how that process would work.
I have a question about the resolution directing the opioid settlement funds being donated to Youth Zone. Is this going to fulfill most of our annual funding request obligation?
It
Or
would
is
be
it
in
in
addition.
addition to?
It would be in addition to.
Do we have a timeline in his review of his contract for Derek, for the new chief?
In terms of,
Months and 6
I would anticipate that shortly after the first of the year, this body will know the direction that it's headed.
Will Mr. Gress be starting soon enough to participate in budget?
He started, technically, he was in the building today. So, but he
Is that a
officially
yes?
would start tomorrow, pending the outcome of your approval of the consent agenda.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Seifert to approve the consent agenda as presented. I'm going to give that second to Mayor Pro Tem Hanrahan. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Do any board members have any conflicts of interest with agenda items tonight?
I will step out again for the last 2 items of the gold rentals.
No, sir.
None here, Mr. Mayor.
None here.
So it's going to be the ordinance 11 through
Yeah,
11,
the last
12,
11,
and
12,
32.
32.
Yep, 32 on ordinance
Okay.
12.
All right. Okay. All right. Do we have any agenda changes by the board or staff this evening?
We do not.
Board? Okay. Next up is the water plant construction update with Dan. Come on up. Hit us with all the good news.
Yes, thank you. Dan Galvin with Garney Construction. This month's update for the silt water treatment improvements project. As always, starting out with health and safety. Glad to report still no incidents to date on the site. Guys continue to do a good job minding their P's and Q's and being safe about their daily task. As always, plant staff and our visitors do a good job wearing their high-vis and protective PPE. As our traffic decreases on the site, we said before, mostly just small vehicle traffic and occasional delivery. And then those folks, plant staff's now walking over to our side a little more as we're getting really close here. So again, we appreciate that participation with them. And then as always, the weather awareness, this week especially seen some change with the rain and a little bit of thunder watch here and there, so we make sure the guys are watching out for that. We have our apps, we can bring them in when lightning gets close, and then having everybody dressed in layers to make it throughout the day. Our construction progress. So we continue with our interior process equipment, getting all that stuff, just the odds and ends, final piping to those items. Part of the reason no pictures this month just was I'd have to probably point it out with the laser pointer to some of the updates. We're going through some deep clean now, so I'll be glad to get maybe some panoramic shots of the different rooms for next month's presentation. Else electrician remains on site, running some electrical conduit, doing their wire pulls, kind of coming in just behind us on these last pieces of equipment and the small pumps and stuff, getting power to those items. We had this past month, chemical equipment, getting all that stuff installed, filled and water tested, make sure it's good to go. And then, as always, we've been commissioning equipment as it becomes available. Upcoming, our HVAC should be next week, so get the start up with that. Some of these chemical pumps and stuff, next month we'll have the vendor on site. And the sand filters, we've been on the vendor's books for that, so they'll be on site next month as well to watch us put the last bit of sand in there and then fire those up. It'll be about half the plant, per se, that with that equipment running to do that process. And then, as we talked about last time, we're moving into the existing plant as process interruptions allow. We communicated with plant staff, and then Joe sits in the meetings as far as getting those emails out to the town. Should we have any of these longer shutdowns come up here in the near future? Regarding schedule, again, everything remains rather up to date. Like I said, the few subcontractors on site, plumbers wrapping his stuff up, last of his vents and some insulation on his pipe. Like we said, electrician, he'll probably be the last one on site with us, landing the last of his wires. Coatings guys pretty much wrapped up their touch-up paint and around the area. Maybe as we do a few more things, might have them come back one more time to knock out a few items. Like I mentioned, HVAC should be next week. That'll be a great milestone. After that, no corals getting water running through the plant. I mentioned the sand filters, and then again, we continue, as we mentioned previous, continue to track December for those last critical pieces of equipment showing up, getting those installed, which we have prepped. It should be a matter of just landing those on their housekeeping or equipment pads, making the last 1 or 2 feet of piping attachments to those. And we've been communicating, we'll have that vendor in right behind that delivery so that we can hold the other date with the other half of the plant, the big equipment in there. So we'll get these guys in, get that started up, and then have Active Flow or Veolia right on their heels, and that should be the startup for the plant there. Budget, so contingency log, updates go out, and then there's going to be a meeting of the minds tomorrow afternoon with Garney staff and Town of Silt staff to look that over and make some decisions with some other improvements or how they see fit with the remainder of the budget. Else, it's been typical of some of the electrical updates, some additional costs for some of those items, and then as of late, some replacement items in the existing plant of a couple items that are key items or stuff that the plant staff gets recordings from to report to the state. So some updates happening there. Else, almost 21 million, 86% build out to date. Again, with just like some startup and contingency items left to pay out. So with that, glad to open it up for questions.
All this rain hasn't caused you any delays of any kind?
No. We have the excavation contractor on site. We had one last, 20-yard roadway to put in. So we started demobbing some trailers and moving other stuff around to open that area up. So he should finish up Wednesday, Thursday, and then that'll be it. We'll look to terminate our grading permits.
I don't have anything. Sounds good. Sounds like it's moving right along, and
Yes.
have a Christmas present by
Yeah.
by December.
Right.
Big bow on top of the building with that extra budget money. Come on now.
December to remember.
Yes.
Right. I was going to piggyback on the rain question. Big building sites I've been on, when you always find that spring mud season, and it tells you where your grading's off. I think like this last week was a good example of mud
Yeah.
season. So, I mean, anything that we need to look forward to? I mean, is there grading that needs done to keep from tracking mud into the plant, or?
No, we still have again, with those permits active, we still have our tracking mats at the gate that help pull that mud off the tires. And then we did a majority of our, they call it clean and sell with the grading over the summer season. And then we had a water buffalo on site, so we were dragging that around, putting water down, and then plant staff and deliveries coming in and out, it essentially made it hard pack for the regular route of travel.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we did have an inspection last year from the state, so for our BMPs and water control. So we passed, which was great, and then we've been on our P's and Q's since then, anticipating a return visit, which we haven't had.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you start up the plant, I assume there's wastewater, I mean, water that's got to get disposed of instead of sent out to the
Yes.
system. How big of, I mean, how much water goes through that process and how long does that take?
It'll be quite a bit. I mean, the plant can pump 300 gallons per minute. I don't think we'll take all of that, but I would say at least half. So we'll be pumping 150 gallons per minute, probably for, I don't know, 20 to 60-minute stints to get stuff lined out. And then, yes, we can adjust valving so that it will discharge to the pond out and back. And then it'll be a process of some dechlorination tabs so that we don't, even the potable water that gets delivered to the housing essentially has a little too much chlorine for us to discharge into the, out that back pond and eventually to the river. So there'll be accommodations made to bring down that chlorine content as we're doing that work.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. I got nothing else.
No coffee cans where the leaks on the roof?
No?
How much training do you give? I mean, I think you talked about it, but I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah.
So, you do everybody and then you on call, or do we have time after it's open to call back?
Right, so essentially every vendor provides a training to plant staff, and then those are video and voice recorded so they can draw back on that. And then all the vendors essentially have a 2-year warranty, and Garney provides a 2-year warranty as well, so that I don't want to say catastrophic, but should there be an event beyond the staff's day-to-day operations, they can make that phone call essentially to Garney, and then we will start calling around, and we'll get the vendors back on site to correct the issues,
Okay.
or hence provide more training at that time.
And how long does that last? I mean, what kind of a warrant, what time frame? A year, 6 months, 3 months, or?
Like I said, all of it's like essentially 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a lot of it, some of them, the equipment or services come with like a service plan where then plant staff can make phone calls to these vendors and ask questions or get some of the stuff answered that they wouldn't have to rely on Garney or someone else making a site visit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I had.
All right. We'll see you in November.
Yes.
All
All right.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is the Garfield Clean Energy presentation and request for support. And I'll turn this over to Manager Mann and our
We have Morgan
presenters.
Hill and Christina Matzel.
Okay.
And yeah, a lot of times you all have a PDF of the presentation pulled up, but there we go. We also have my computer if needed, but this works. Thanks so much for having us tonight. My name is Morgan Hill again. I'm the Associate Director at CLEAR, Clean Energy Economy for the region. And you'll hear us talk a little bit more about CLEAR and GCE and why you're hearing from both of us tonight, but also let Christina introduce herself.
And I'm Christina Matzel. I'm the Data and Energy Analyst for CLEAR and work with our government buildings and big buildings.
Yeah. And next slide. So Garfield Clean Energy, I think this is all the same board trustees, so you all have seen this presentation before, but it's always good to have a refresher. Every municipality in Garfield County is a member of GCE, so we have 9 member governments. That also includes Garfield County Government, RAFTA, CMC, and then Holy Cross Energy and Garfield County Libraries are affiliate members. Town of Silt has been an active participant in GCE over the years and supported GCE since it was founded, which was in its current form established as a government collaborative in 2012. So actually there's an IGA for members that are part of GCE that allows it to function kind of like a special district, which is helpful in getting grants that are only eligible for governments. And then why you're hearing from us as CLEAR employees is that Garfield Clean Energy contracts with CLEAR to operate their programs and services and manage their board functions. We really have, I would say, 3 pillars or focus areas that are all under this last bullet point of economic development and diversification. But one of our main focus areas is on energy efficiency for residential, commercial, and public or government buildings. So Christina will talk a little bit more about the Advanced Energy Management Program that we work on. And a lot of that work around energy efficiency really is helping people save money on their energy bills. And that, I think, is becoming an even more important cause as energy bills continue to rise, and it can become a burden for local families. So we're always trying to help them save that money. We also focus on locally produced renewable energy, which is really a lot of, Silts has a lot of solar arrays, Rifle has a lot of solar arrays that help save money on your energy bills by having those arrays. So trying to make sure that those are functioning properly and providing a resource for the community. We work in clean transportation, and then again, all kind of under this umbrella of economic development.
I was going to ask, so with money saving for public buildings, what was the number that you think you saved, helped the school district save? Wasn't it a lot?
The school, so we worked with Roaring Fork School District over the last year, plus a little bit more. And we worked really closely with their facility directors to create a program and track their buildings with 15-minute interval data. And for the most part, it was working with them on adjustments for their buildings. And they saved last year over $200,000 on their utility bills. And this year, we project that we added a few more buildings. So we projected that they're going to save around $300,000 on their utility bills for the year across electric and natural gas. Yeah, that's the number.
I just think that's incredible and very impressive, just, you know, how much money that you can actually be saving people with this kind of thoughtful approach.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Continue, sorry.
And Trustee Engelhardt is our GCE board representative for the town of Silt, so she's been participating in meetings and in the loop. So our focus on energy efficiency, which, you know, again, we're already kind of getting into the conversation about the advanced energy management and government buildings, but, and actually that slide, which you don't necessarily need to go back to, but just wanted to highlight some of the buildings in Silt that you have commercial buildings, residential buildings that we can help provide energy efficiency support and coaching for. Yeah, now next slide. So we provide free energy coaching for Garfield County residents, businesses, and commercial property owners. And we get this question of what is energy coaching? And especially residents can get, we're often promoting, and actually you can get for free right now if you're income qualified, an energy assessment or audit for your home. So then what is the coaching on top of that? And that's really where we help people understand more of how they can make adjustments in their home, what resources are available, because sometimes reports that they get might be a little bit complex. They need some deciphering. So that's our bread and butter, is when people call us, we can help them figure out what rebates they have access to and things like that. So yeah, coaching provides biggest bang for your buck energy saving measures. We get a lot of questions about window replacements as one example, but a lot of times windows are actually they're not a big bang for your buck unless you maybe have like single pane windows. So we'll help people understand maybe that they can get more energy efficient blinds or something like that. We provide, like I said, rebates and other financing options, recommendations on appliances, and then we also maintain a contractor list so folks can go to our website and see what contractors are available to help with their energy saving projects. Reenergize Garfield County is one of GCE's flagship programs. It's an income qualified, so up to 150% area median income. It's really targeted at the missing middle of residents who may not qualify for some of the lower income state and federal programs. So those usually go up to 80% area median income. This goes up to 150. And when a family or resident applies to the program, we get them all the way from the application to the work being totally done in their home. Usually rebates are up to about $4,000 that we provide, and it can save participants up to $100 a month or sometimes even more on their energy bills. And this is really a meaningful amount of money for a lot of residents. It includes measures like insulation and air sealing, HVAC upgrades, which often we won't end up replacing a whole new appliance, but the rebate can go towards that. There are still a lot of rebates right now that can help cover even more of the cost of, for example, a new heat pump or something. And this program has been in existence since 2022, and since then we've allocated $42,500 to Silt residents. And jumping ahead a little bit, that our financial ask for next year, I believe, is $3,800. So you can see that that money really is coming back to Silt, going directly to residents, helping them, and your investment really goes back to your community. And actually, can we go back up? Sorry. Yeah, so just wanted to highlight some of the projects and the homes. We have Battlement Mesa residents here and Rifle. And we're always looking for new case studies. And I will say that this year's program looks a little bit different because we had a federal grant that was supposed to come in that we were going to be using for our rebates, and it's been in limbo. So we are still helping people and just doing what we're calling quick fixes or direct installs. But we're always looking to grow this program and get it thriving as much as possible. So, yep, thanks.
So the Advanced Energy Management Program is what we mentioned with, I guess I'll preface that CLEAR had a separate contract with the school district to help them with that program. But for all of our GCE partners, we also do provide a lot of these services. And so we track the utility bills, and we have these data loggers on a lot of the buildings and sites that track 15-minute interval data for buildings. So for Silt, we track the town hall and the water and wastewater treatment plant, and then the solar arrays that are associated with those sites. So Silt interval data is showing a downward trend in use from 2024 to through this year. So the wastewater and water treatment plant are showing a pretty significant reduction in use, and this is a combination of the solar and actual use there. So which is impressive with the construction that's going on. Usually that increases use at a site. And then we are also currently working on a solar production report for all of our GCE members. So through this program, we look at the usage through the utility bills, and we can see the solar production, and we're putting together some reports so everybody has kind of an idea of how productive over time their solar arrays have been, and to be able to help answer questions on that. And that should be ready for our next board meeting in November. And then for the AEM program, this is just an example of a 15-minute interval profile that we look at for a building. This building happens to have a real nice overnight down low line, and then it pops up during the day. So we're monitoring that, and each different building has a different need, has different needs and different usage patterns. So what I'm really looking for when I look at these are jumps in energy use that are not consistent with regular usage or higher use at night. With the school district case, this is really what we looked at for them and helped reduce the energy load overnight, and that's what made the biggest impact in their energy bills, was just turning things down a lot more at night. So yeah.
So another one of our pillars is clean transportation, and that also really has two main focus areas. One is on electric vehicles. So we provide also, and this is one way that GCE helps to, when the members pay in, it helps to leverage resources and other programs that we are able to implement. So we are, CLEAR is the recharge coach for the 14 county Northwest Colorado region. And that means that we help provide assistance on EV charging grants. We also host EV 101s and ride and drives. And so if there's an area in Silt where you're interested in installing more EV charging, we can be helping connect you with that. We're also there's a fleet grant that's out right now if you want to purchase an electric vehicle for your fleet or several. We finished last year a countywide EV readiness plan that we're currently working to implement. And then, like I said, we do workshops and ride and drives where anyone who's interested wants to drive multiple EVs and get a feel for what they're like, you can join one of those. And then for our multimodal transportation, so this is really biking, walking, and transit. We have provided 2 years where we had a grant program. We provided 90 e-bikes to income qualified residents. So those were folks who were, again, 80% area median income and below. And that was through a grant through the Colorado Energy Office. But we heard stories from several bike recipients, and I know that there are more, that some of those bikes really were life-changing, where they might not have had transportation before. And then this bike allows them to get around in an efficient and fun way. This year we also hosted our annual Bike There event. So this is the second year of Bike There. We had over 300 participants each year. And I actually was one of the GCE crew who was helping out at Silt both years. And we had great participation. And this year we added a couple new activities with bike decorating, so kids could draw a license plate. It was really fun. And then we're also working on developing a transportation management organization this year, and have we're about to launch. We're in October, so we're working on an app where we did a program. Actually, it was mostly in August to give out prizes for folks who biked and walked and changed trips from single occupancy vehicles. And next slide. So again, under a lot of the work that we do is under the economic development umbrella, and I'll talk about workforce training, but we also think when people aren't spending money on their energy bills, that's money that can go back into the local economy. So that's an added economic benefit. We this year did host a ducted heat pump training for HVAC professionals to install heat pumps in existing homes. There's a lot of demand for that, so we want to make sure that our workforce is equipped to install those. Like I said, we maintain contractor lists and also help support professional certifications. So encouraging people to become Building Performance, what's the I? Institute?
Go through Building Performance Institute to be a home energy auditor.
Yeah, so we help to proctor exams and stuff like that. Because to do this work, again, we need those staff. I've also been participating in the Colorado River Valley Economic Development Partnership and the data project that's underway. A lot of that focus is some of it's on renewable energy, but the other thought is that if people have, as you'll hear Alicia say, better jobs closer to home, then that also benefits the economy and improves air quality, all those things. And then we were also part of hosting the Colorado Building Symposium West just this last September. And I think that's it. We'll take questions. We did less than 15 minutes.
That's great. Morgan, what's the outreach? If someone is interested in having their business building studied, or a residential, do they go to your website, online? Is there a specific phone number?
Yeah, great question. The best place to start, if you don't want to go to our website, is just to email info@cleanenergyeconomy.net, and we can help get folks connected with resources. But our website,
GarfieldCleanEnergy.org.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if it was org or net. GarfieldCleanEnergy.org has, and we're always making sure that folks can get where they need to be on the website as easily as possible. So yes, that's a great place to look. And we are always actively promoting our programs. And I know in previous years we've talked about maybe are there community boards or ways that the town of Silt can help us get the message out about our programs. But we've been postering and doing a lot of targeted Facebook ads, trying to reach people, mainly about the Reenergize program. But the commercial buildings, there's a form that they can fill out, and we'll follow back up and do a free walkthrough of their building. Yeah.
And then also, so like for this heat pump training thing, is that where, I got the impression that it was like you're training local contractors, right? So someone would hire this person to work on their HVAC or whatever, and these people actually they don't know all the stuff that you're teaching them. So like the average contractor would benefit. Okay, like, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so.
Is that wrong?
No, I understand. So when we hosted that training partly because one of our CLEAR staff who works on GCE programs went to a training, or actually it was really like a building summit over on the Front Range, and just heard a lot of really good information about heat pumps and ducted heat pump systems, and realized that because that staff member talks with contractors quite a bit, that there was a need for an additional training. And I think, as with any skill, it takes a lot. It can take ongoing work to understand and being able to see what systems are out there. But with that, being at that conference helped to understand kind of who could maybe give a presentation. And then we had pretty good attendance. I think it was 40 or 50 contractors were there, or staff from contractors. So then they're able to go out and be able to install those systems more easily. And they can always reach out to us with questions too afterwards.
Very cool.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you for your presentation.
Great. Thanks so much for having us.
I do one question.
Yeah.
Where's the overlap with like Northwest Colorado Council of Governments that also do an energy audit for a person? You guys also do that. So where's the crossover? Are they that 80% and under, and you take that 80 to 150 gap, or how's that?
We actually partner with Northwest COG quite a bit, and for the Re-Energize program, they're the primary contractor that goes out and does the audits. So CLEAR and GCE we don't currently do audits. We have in the past, but we try to spread the work around. So for our low-income program, Northwest COG does those. Otherwise, if folks reach out to us who aren't qualified for those and want an audit, we are able to connect them with an auditor a local auditor in the area. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. No other questions, and we're in budget season, so you guys are here.
Thank you.
Great.
All right,
Thanks
yeah.
so much.
Awesome. All right. Thank
We
you very
appreciate
much.
the Town of Silt's ongoing collaboration and partnership with GCE.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Highwater Farms year-end review and introduction of intern director Becca Gourlay. I want to make sure I said that. Is that right?
Yep.
Gourlay? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Come on up and.
Okay. I did have a slideshow. I was kind of late sending it in, but that's okay. It's just pictures if it didn't work out.
I think Sheila has it, and she's probably getting it pulled up right now.
Oh, great. Cool. Well, yeah, as that's being pulled up, I just wanted to thank you all for having me. For those of you who I haven't met yet, my name is Becca Gourlay. I have been at Highwater since 2022 as the farm manager, and I am stepping into the executive director role at the end of this week. As many of you guys know, our founding director, Sarah, is stepping down because she's moving closer. She just moved to California to be closer to family, so I'll be stepping into her role. So thanks for the opportunity for me to introduce myself and to give some updates from the season. Cool. So at Highwater Farm, we're a nonprofit diversified vegetable operation located south of the river at the Silt River Preserve. We also run a job training program for teens. And the 3 tenets of our mission are growing food, empowering youth, and fueling community. So I'm going to use those 3 tenets to kind of guide my presentation tonight. That first picture is a picture of farm startup back in 2020. That's at the Silt River Preserve, before any of our infrastructure, like our greenhouses, our pole barn, our fence line, before any of that was built.
And I will say I love working at the Silt River Preserve. It is such a beautiful property, and I'm so lucky that we can partner with the town of Silt and AVLT to farm there. It's a really special place. And we have hundreds of people that come through the farm as like volunteers, school groups, CSA members, youth in our programming. And I hear a lot of people, their takeaway is just what a beautiful location that is in Silt. So very lucky to call that my office. Like I mentioned, I've been at Highwater since 2022. So I've been working with Sarah for 4 years now. Those are some pictures of us kind of working together on the farm. In the past 4 years, we've been through a lot of things together, a lot of challenging things, some things related to water or irrigation, pests and diseases, but we've learned a lot of lessons together and have had a lot of successes and have seen the farm grow from, in 2020, startup mode, to now we're cultivating on 2.5 acres. And this summer, we just expanded our fence line into our additional 1.5 acres. And we have plans for a perennial fruit orchard there. So that's really exciting and something I'll touch on later. I think something a lot of people don't know about me is that because my role as the farm manager was year-round, full-time, I actually worked with Sarah a lot over the winter and in the fall to do some administrative and operations work on the back end. So I was involved in fundraising, donor cultivation and relationship building, recruitment and hiring for our team, training and onboarding. So I'm feeling really excited to step into this new role, and Sarah has left that operation in the organization in a really great place. So very grateful to her for that. This is just a visual picture of the work we do. So like I mentioned, we're growing on 2.5 acres of diversified vegetables. And the next photo is an aerial view of the farm, which is always cool to see. On the eastern side in that photo, you can kind of see that is where the orchard will be planted in the fall of 2026. So diversity is a really key part of growing in our climate. You all know how arid and hot it can be in Silt, so growing a diversity of crops is key to being a successful grower here. For us, that means we grow 120 varieties of over 40 different crops and about 35,000 pounds of produce annually. The main way we get the food out to our community is through our CSA program, so community-supported agriculture. We actually have a lot of CSA members here today, which is really cool to see, and a lot of our CSA members are from right here in Silt or from Newcastle and Rifle. So most of our CSA members come to the farm each week for 18 weeks to pick up their CSA shares. Those are some photos of kind of how our CSA is set up, but our on-farm pickup is set up market style. So CSA members get a canvas bag, and then they have the opportunity to go through and choose whatever produce they're excited about for the week. We also have a variety of you-pick crops like cherry tomatoes, tomatillos, green beans, cut flowers. And that our goal with our U-Pick program is to really encourage our farm members to build their own relationship with the land and the farmers that grow their food. So it's kind of cool, like when I run orientation for our new CSA members, oftentimes I'll have CSA members that have been part of the CSA for 4 or 5 years kind of interrupt me and like say, Becky, you missed this thing, and like kind of elaborate on things because people begin to feel real ownership over the land, and it's a really special thing to see. The second tenet of our mission, empowering youth, we do through our job training programs for teens. So we run a fall and a summer youth program for young people, 14 to 17 in our area. Most of the youth in our programs live in Newcastle, Silt, and Rifle. And in addition to working with us on the farm in the mornings, they also participate in a variety of workshops. So we have some photos from some of our workshops from this year. We did a really cool cooking class on site with local produce. The youth visited the honey hut just down the road from us and learned about beekeeping. And we also had a local artist and photographer who takes a lot of photography at the Silt River Preserve run a painting workshop for youth. So our goal with those workshops is to teach job training skills in agriculture. And then the third part of our mission is fueling community. So we do that primarily by getting people to the farm. So we have a few different events that we run annually now. The first is our movie night, which usually happens in late August or September. We show a family-friendly movie, and families can come, have snacks, and watch a movie on the farm. The stars are also always amazing to see at that time of year. One of my favorite events is our community lunch. So that is really a celebration of our summer program. We have crew workers practicing their public speaking, giving farm tours, giving speeches, and we all share a farm fresh meal together. It's usually very hot, but it's always a great day. And then similarly, we have a fall brunch on the farm. So that was 2 weeks ago. And that is a celebratory event, kind of celebrating the end of the season and the end of CSA. That one is also always really fun. This year, we actually had a CSA member that purchased 4 tickets and then wasn't able to go. So we invited 4 youth alumni from our program to go to the event. They didn't have to work the event, which was special for them. They could just celebrate with the community. So that was a lot of fun, and maybe something we'll do again in the future. And then lastly, we usually do a farm-to-table dinner. So I'm excited to talk with you all about what that could look like in partnership with the town of Silt next year. But this year we had about 65 people at our farm-to-table event. That was in the end of September. And again, we have a catering company that specializes in farm-to-table cooking that comes to the farm and prepares a really awesome meal. So lots of celebratory fun events with our main goal of trying to get people out to the farm. And then lastly, this year will be a big transition year for the organization, but it doesn't mean that our goals are any less ambitious for 2026. So these are 4 projects that we're hoping we can partner with the town of Silt on in some capacity. The first relates to our orchard project. So like I mentioned earlier, we expanded our fence line in July of 2025 to the additional 1.5 acres of our lease. And we're hoping to plant a diversified fruit orchard there, both as a learning tool for youth in our programs, and then also eventually as a U-Pick area for our CSA members. So we're hoping to do apples, peaches, pears, maybe raspberries, and then integrate animals into that area as well, like chickens or maybe goats. So we're really excited about that project. What I'll be working on in the spring is getting irrigation to that block to make sure that when we do plant the trees in the fall, they can be established with success. The next event I kind of touched on is the farm-to-table dinner at the town of Silt. So I'm really excited to continue having conversations with you all about what that could look like at the preserve. It's always really fun to get people out there. The next thing is ditch maintenance and repair. So we have really appreciated our relationship with Public Works and how you all have supported us through challenges we've had with like our ditch and water access. And our ditch does need a little bit of routine repair in the spring. And then last project is a hoop barn construction. So that is just a site on the farm where we're hoping to store a lot of our tools. So things like our tractor and implements, farm supplies like row cover and shade cloth. And the goal behind that is to have a space where our tools can be protected from the elements in order to ensure their longevity and make us more efficient, make us a more efficient operation. And lastly, I just wanted to thank you all for your ongoing support of the farm. That picture right there is a picture of me, Sarah, and Caroline with Howard on a drill seeder that we leased from the Conservation District. So Howard, who does so much work around the preserve, helped us with that equipment, helped us seed cover crop on the farm, in our orchard block, and then around the preserve. So he helped us with that really kind of intimidating piece of machinery. And it just kind of demonstrates, the different ways that we have partnered together in the past. And I just wanted to say how grateful we are for the relationship, and thank you for your support of the farm. My contact info is up there, but yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Can you talk about regenerative farming techniques? Because I find that fascinating and inspiring. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I'm explaining our farming techniques, I like to say that they are human scaled. So because we integrate a lot of people who have never farmed before, because we integrate youth into our farming systems and volunteers, a lot of what we do can be done by hand or done with like simple hand tools. So we do use equipment for like bed forming and all of that to kind of make sure that when we're setting up the farm in the spring and when we're turning over beds in the fall, it's the most efficient. But besides that, we do everything by hand. So all of our transplanting, scouting for pests, harvesting, all of that is kind of done by hand. So I think that for me, that's a really important aspect of regenerative agriculture, is thinking about how people who might not have grown up in farming families can kind of be incorporated and learn about where their food comes from. And then, the other element of that is that we don't use any chemicals on what we grow. So, we're lucky that we have a CSA because there are a lot of learning opportunities that I can help share with our CSA members. If, all of our tomatoes succumb to a disease, it's like a learning opportunity because we're not spraying certain chemicals on them. So because we have a community of supporters that are really invested in our work, it kind of gives this opportunity for people to walk around the farm, have their own relationship, and then have connections with the farmers that are growing their food and learn more about it. So for me, I think the community aspect is a really important part of regenerative agriculture, and then also, really focusing on the ecology and building your soils and building your systems so they're sustainable in the long term.
I have two questions.
Sure.
The first is a clarification. It says on our agenda that you're the interim executive director, but you are now the permanent.
I'm stepping into the interim role for the next 6 months, and then after 6 months, I'm just going to talk with the board and then decide if I'm going to step into the executive director role or continue with the interim.
Okay.
Yeah.
As the new executive director, interim or otherwise, with Sarah's departure and some of the other changes going on financially, regionally, what do you see as some of the leading challenges that the organization is going to face in the coming year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, for a lot of farmers, there are a lot of questions around funding. Especially, we participated in a really cool federal grant program a few years ago that was focused on sustainable agriculture research that was driven by farmers, and that gave us a really big boost. It paid for some supplies, it paid for our team to do studies that then could be kind of translated to people growing in other regions. So it's hard to see that kind of funding disappear, or other operations that kind of were relying on different programs to then not have that funding. I think what's nice is because we do have a CSA, we have some income. We're not entirely reliant on grants for our funding, but I do see that being a big challenge in the coming years, just more competitive pools for funds related to agriculture, especially things that encourage innovation and regenerative practices. So that is kind of a hard thing to come to terms with.
Hey, one more question.
Sure.
Your predecessor, Sarah, and some members of the board and some members of the Board of Trustees have spoken in the past, and the town is undergoing a wider shift, wherein if we fund an organization, we are now requesting an at-large board seat, so that someone who is either an elected trustee or perhaps planning and zoning or another designee, depending on their area of expertise, can assist the organization not just fiscally, but strategically and possibly operationally. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that is a great idea. We do have one member of our board that's on the Planning and Zoning Committee for the town, but I think we're always trying to find more diverse people to join our board with different skill sets that can contribute to the organization. So that's definitely something we can talk about at our next Highwater board meeting, which will be in November.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
I don't have a question, just a comment. I think having the Highwater Farm is an asset for the community, and just as Becca stated in her presentation, it's an opportunity to bring community together for the various events that it holds. and also an asset to have teenagers, instead of spending time in front of the computer, they're cultivating nature and learning where food comes from. I was blessed that my son had an opportunity to participate on the program when it first came out, and he had an amazing experience. And he told me all about squishing bugs and how he
spent a lot of
likes
time
to,
doing
you know, take care of the land so he could snowboard for the next 10 years. And he learned all of that as part of the program. So I'm very much a great supporter of High Water Farms.
Thank you so much.
I don't have anything.
Nope.
So being a nonprofit, how much involvement does your board have in the daily operations of the farm?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will say that because I'm just stepping into this role and because I haven't been an ED of a nonprofit before, I imagine I will be leaning on the board for a little bit more support, in the next few months with the transition. But I would say a lot of our programming, because we have a pretty small staff, like our hiring is primarily done by, our year-round team. We do have a lot of staff transition this year, so I will be relying on the board too for extra support for hiring, because right now it's just me. So I imagine there will be a lot more board, or I'll be leaning on the board a lot more next year because of the staff turnover.
Okay. And then with Sarah leaving, is she maintaining any kind of role remotely, or is this handing it off to the board and you?
Yeah, she is. She was open to supporting the farm virtually, basically to help train me throughout the winter. So the timing actually works out really well because I'm just kind of wrapping up my farm manager job now, and then I'm going to have more time in the office to work with Sarah. So her timeline, she could support the farm anywhere from now until March-ish.
I think that's all I have at this time. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becca.
Okay. Next up is the Western Colorado Alliance of Garfield County Transportation Survey results. Turn this over. Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
If you need additional chairs for a presentation, you can pull more up.
Yeah, why don't
You can just stand in the back. That's fine. We'll just stand.
All I have to do is introduce myself. I don't really.
Just be sure if you're going to speak, do it into a microphone so we can, so the
Okay.
record can pick you up.
Testing.
Okay.
So I'm going to introduce myself first. These are the real wheels. I'm Deb Grizzle, and my hometown is Rifle, and my main connection to transportation is I worked at the senior housing that I now live at. I worked there for 22 years. So I've seen the growth that the Traveler has gone through, and I just see that as a starting point for better transportation for the whole valley. That's kind of a blueprint as a place to start. And I'm a volunteer.
And my name is Alex Garcia. I know a lot of people. I was going to say almost too many people here, but they're mostly behind me. I'm a professional volunteer, and that's what happens when you know too many people. I've lived here for about 5 years, moved from Southern Arizona in 2021. My connection with transportation is kind of all over the place. I work for the Garfield County Public Library District, which keeps me busy. I live in Battlement Mesa, and I'm in Carbondale a couple of times a week, so I'm one of those trucks that kind of, gunk up our road there. But before I lived here, I made it about 33 years being in a single car household. Just I'm frugal with it, and it made sense. And within a year here, that didn't make sense. So we became a two-vehicle household. If you don't have reliable transportation here, you don't go anywhere. And I think transportation's been mentioned several times today. So it's kind of important.
And hi, everybody. I'm Kimberly Leisinger, and I'm a resident here in Silt. And first off, I just want to thank all these people that came here tonight to support us, to talk about public transportation. If you came to support us, please go ahead and raise your hands so that all these are, town people know that we have people that came to support that are all Silt residents. And I'm here tonight to talk to you about something that touches all of our lives, and that's transportation here in our community. There was a time not that long ago when I never thought twice about getting around. I could drive, walk, or bike wherever I needed to be, whenever I needed to be. And then if you can do all of those things now, drive, walk, or bike, I want you to take a second and imagine waking up tomorrow and not being able to. How would you get to the grocery store or a doctor's appointment? How would you get to the library? I certainly didn't expect to lose my abilities in my 30s. I was taking medication, and honestly still am, that slowed down my reflexes and make me drowsy. So I decided not to drive, and I'm sure you all are very appreciative that I am not on the roads. Suddenly, getting to appointments in Glenwood or Rifle meant begging for a ride. I lost so much of my independence and my freedom. My family and I actually started looking at moving somewhere else besides Silt because I just needed better public transportation options so I could get some of my freedom back. My husband and I started driving for Meals on Wheels, him driving, of course, and we realized just how many people right here in Silt that are homebound. We're talking about seniors, veterans, and other people like me who are disabled. Well, I do use the Traveler now, and it's been over 10 years since that started for me, and I just got accepted in the Traveler 2 weeks ago. So for 10 years, I've been struggling with this, and I continue, of course. It only runs Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So if I want to do anything outside of those hours, I'm stuck on relying and begging on somebody else to get me there. And the thing is, this isn't just a disabled person's issue. My husband, for example, who's by me, would love a reliable bus service to go to Newcastle, Rifle, or Glenwood for fun, shopping, or socializing. We want to drive our car less for the planet, to cut down on traffic, to save on maintenance. What if your car breaks down like Alex talked about? What if you need a non-driving option? How many people in Silt have you heard tell you, and I have certainly heard this, I want to go to Down Valley Brewing, but I need a designated driver. Well, you'd have a safe way home. Can you think of one reason right now or down the road why not driving might be the best option for you? Tonight we're going to talk about why every Silt resident needs access, and easy access at that, to things that make life good. Entertainment, groceries, medical care. It's about ensuring quality of life and individual freedom for all of us. So who is behind this effort? We are the Western Colorado Alliance of Garfield County, and our mission is simple. We want to ensure a good quality of life that's accessible to everyone in Garfield County. Our alliance is a 45-year-old organization that works exclusively on the Western Slope. And our local Garfield County chapter is only about 2 years old. We're a community-based grassroots nonprofit led primarily by people like us, local volunteers, and people just like you, all of you back here, and you. We believe in starting where the community tells us to, and through a community-led issue identification process, this group overwhelmingly chose to address the lack of reliable public transportation options in Western Garfield County. Why? Because transportation is a key community issue. It impacts more of our neighbors than most people realize. What we've done in this last year, we have listened to a variety of people, and we didn't just guess what people needed. We spent an entire year doing one thing, listening. We had hundreds of individual conversations and distributed bus surveys. We were out tabling at major community events. So Hispanic Heritage Day in Rifle, Latino Conservation Week in Glenwood, Bike There in Rifle and Silt, Heydays right here in Silt, even CMC during finals week. We needed to understand the real life experiences and diverse needs across our valley. We put up scannable QR codes for our bus survey at coffee shops and bulletin boards. We texted voter rolls, ran social media ads, even knocked on doors. We also targeted high-need areas directly. So for instance, at places like the Rifle Senior Housing and Senior Center. We had small group meetings where we actually had participants map out ideal bus routes and destinations based on what individual people needed. The bus survey results, we circulated the bus survey in Spanish and English, and we're super proud to say that 25% of our responses were in Spanish. We received a total of 376 responses across the region, with 75 from here in Silt and 159 from Rifle. Because of this robust and diverse outreach, we're confident that the findings we're about to show you are truly representative of the entire community. Next slide, please. And let's look at what we found out.
Okay. And it's my turn. I get to shed some numbers on that light. And so like Kim mentioned, we had an overwhelming response and support for developing and just improving our public transportation system. We did focus on Silt and Rifle, but for tonight, we'll take a look at those Silt numbers. We asked, this glare. Excuse me. We asked folks who already depend on transportation, folks who might depend on it one day, or folks who just view it as a betterment for the community at large. In terms of current ridership, this is what we found. Silt has the most limited bus service of all the municipalities, yet residents use it at a relatively higher rate than the others. 58% stated that they ride the bus at least annually. Compare that to Rifle, 61% who never ride it at all. You can see a little bit of a breakdown there of those responses from Silt and Rifle, and then an altogether there in the middle. One interesting result here is the percentage of Silt residents who indicate that they ride the bus daily. The question didn't specify which bus ride or what bus service they use, but the RAFTA's Hogback line is the only one in Silt. In contrast, Rifle has access to RAFTA, PATS, the Bustang, and even with that limited service, people are using it to access resources that aren't available in town, mostly medical. One Silt resident, as an example, that we've been working with regularly takes the bus to Glenwood Springs at least once a week for those medical appointments. That does leave him stranded in Glenwood all day unless he takes the bus back to Newcastle and catches a ride from there. So we're trying to make people's lives a little bit easier. Next slide. And this is what we mean by trying to make it a little bit easier. The barriers are pretty big. The very top barrier is related to the convenience and the practical service limitations. The top barrier is a limited bus schedule. People just need more frequent rides. The next most common barriers are the distance between people's homes and the nearest bus stop, and also the bus routes that don't get people to where they need to go. Residents have also let us know that they have to wait too long for a bus to arrive at their destination. Another concern is the inadequate safety related to getting to and waiting at the bus stops. The bus stops we do have, very few of them are weather protecting, and just think about the winter for that. There's very little lighting and usable sidewalks to get there as well. Next slide. We also view this opportunity as tying our community together further. Kim mentioned that it's not just necessities that people need, but we would like to connect people to Silt Hay Days, to Glenwood Springs for Strawberry Days, to the new Third Thursdays that they're trying out in Rifle. People want to get to the rec center, Coleridge, the public pool in Rifle. We need buses for that. We need more options than just clogging up the road with people's personal vehicles, and people might just not want to drive all the time to just go to the pool. And the next slide. And going back to overwhelming support, funding is going to be a very important part of any conversation involving public transit. We made sure to include a question about that support for voter-approved funding on that survey. The majority of the residents we surveyed support a hypothetical half-cent sales tax to increase the service of public buses in the area. We asked to improve it and expand our local public transportation by prioritizing municipal funding and exploring options for voter-approved funding. 82% of the Silt residents were in support of that half cent, comparing that to 73% of Rifle, and that's on those 300 surveys we pulled out.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this, that 83%, so is that including the people who never ride the bus that you surveyed?
Yes.
Are they also there, so even they are
That is
included
correct.
in this number that is overwhelmingly supportive?
Yes.
Okay.
So, for that, we do ask that we look into that, either prioritizing municipal funding or supporting voter-based funding as well for the coming years.
And also, I've heard that it's almost impossible to get people to take your survey. So, great job. Just a side note on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, the survey is only 75 people. That's 1/3 of 1% of the town. And then out of that, you take the never, that's almost half of that, so you're down to 1/10 of 1% of the people that, so yeah, it's not really a very accurate survey per se. That really represents, because I mean, that's
But
less
in their
than
defense,
1/10 of
that's
1% of the
more
town.
survey responses than we've gotten for some of the things we've tried to do through the town as well.
Yeah,
So
but
they put a lot of
pretty
work
large
into
number.
it to try to get as
Still,
much of
it's-
representative as they could.
If they don't bother doing the survey,
Is not taking the survey indicative of indifference to the cause?
yeah, if they don't have time, if they're not even worried about doing the survey, what is that telling you? They could care less.
You think there's a direct correlation?
No, I'm just saying, it's just, everybody had opportunity to take it.
How do you expand that?
Just keep working on it. I mean, there's going to be more events, there's going to be more locations. There's pretty much endless opportunities to keep surveying. Now, surveying is difficult. I don't like filling out surveys. I don't know anybody who ever liked filling out a survey, but that's why it's called work.
I'd also add to that this is data that we're sharing with you for free, and that's 75 responses more than you had before this presentation in our bus survey. And so our whole goal is to work collaboratively with the town of Silt to try and find some solutions to improve our public transportation. And if you need more data in order to try and work on that, then hey, let's get to it. So we're just trying to give you some information to start the conversation.
Appreciate that.
Mhm.
You can continue. Is that the end?
Okay, that's the end. Yeah.
Okay, no, it's absolutely great. I think all the work going out and getting the number of responses and the presence within the board, and it has been an ongoing conversation for people coming in and making similar type of requests. We want to make sure that the dollars would justify the type of service, and that is definitely the conversation that we will be initiating to have today. Not to impose a cost and not to obtain the associated appropriate service is just, something that we have a strong responsibility to make sure that those are aligned. But we hear you guys, and we appreciate you coming in and expressing the need.
Thank you.
I think this is great information. I want as much information like this as I can possibly get. I think it is telling that, even when there are a significant number of people who don't currently ride the bus every day, there's still a huge majority that supports a small increase to help this out. We're still trying to get the numbers too, so I think this is a really great step in the right direction. And we talk about that the towns have overlapping and then unique interests as well. So it's not just the town of Silt, but we want to help our residents. So I think this is really helpful. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Based on your research, do you have any thoughts on solutions? Do you have any proposals for how to get more buses, how to increase service, both with middle mile, and I consider Rafta to be a middle mile, and then services like Pat's, which is a last mile? How should the town of Silt and all of us sitting up here be thinking about solving either or both problems? Well, starting the conversation is good. And then, yes, relying on then Pat's and Rafta to see where we can expand that. Thinking creatively, thinking with our directorship to find those solutions out. Keep researching, but I would say that our best bets is the support that we already have from those existing services.
And I also wanted to add that although we do have the hogback service now, and we know that that's subsidized through Garfield County, we do realize that may not always be the case. And we also realize that the town of Silt kind of gets that for free right now. And so just thinking about what is the direction that the town wants to go. For instance, do you want to be known as a town that has great public transportation to get residents, no matter what their circumstance or situation, that to treat all residents the same and having the same freedoms and individualism that the town of Silt is very proud of, to get individuals where they need to go, and can we invest somewhat in that? And yes, starting the conversation, but also thinking about your partnerships, and also we're happy to be on any working committees or discussions on that to help direct some of that or help facilitate that or even bring ideas. Of course, we've talked about or had conversations about like all the different types of things out there, like the downtowner and the on-demand service in Glenwood Springs, and then how we can merge all these things. As you know, the traveler's cost is pretty high per individual, and I wonder if there might be a better solution or incorporating that solution so that things are just smoother or run better. So yeah, our intent tonight is to start the conversation and give you data, and then to welcome you and inviting us in any future conversations.
What are your thoughts? Sorry, I know we're over.
You're fine, though. This is important, yeah.
The slide where do people want to go? I see a lot of private businesses on that page, categorically speaking, not brand specific, but like City Market for grocery, obviously Walmart for retail, even CMC, other small businesses. What role, maybe this is a question for everyone, but you can't all answer right now. What role can private industry play, really? Because a subsidy model just isn't going to work. Long term, it's not going to work in terms of either maintaining the services we already have or increasing service. And we know this because of Garfield County's recent announcement of cuts. What, based on those economic realities, what role does private industry play in helping all of you get where you need to go today, tomorrow, next year, next decade?
Well, that's a question we want to make to those businesses. Rifle, for example, has their Downtown Business Alliance. They'd be a great group to bring into the conversation at some part in the process, and just ask them that question, what would it mean for those businesses to be able to get some traffic? Those downtown areas don't have a ton of parking. If perhaps they can get customers just busing in, that might work. So there's strategies or tactics we can use to have a conversation with those businesses, but we'd love it very much for them to be a part of the conversation.
Thank you.
So, don't get me wrong, I'm all for the bus. I'm not for that. Because my wife rode it for years when she worked at Valley View. So I'm all for that. I guess I get frustrated at these surveys and nobody wants to answer them. I know it's hard to get people to do surveys. And it's kind of hard to go off of this because you're really only talking not even 1/10 of 1% of the population. So it's just frustrating, I guess.
But
what we could do to really nothing you can do, but it's just frustrating.
I do want to respond to that, though. In addition to the bus survey, we had hundreds of individual conversations with people. We had those small group meetings, and so it's not just the bus surveys that we're sharing experiences from people with you. So even though, there's like statistical data and numbers from the bus surveys, we're just sharing all of the different information that we're hearing from people so that you can help make a better informed decision moving forward or on how you want to move forward.
And I think you can look at our bus landscape and say it's not what other towns have, right? We don't have a reputation of having the best public. We want to avoid having a reputation of having like the worst transportation system around. But I'm curious, just for your future thought, like if someone could have access to anything at all, what would they use? I would love to just get on a bus with my friends and go to Rifle and hang around and then get the bus home, or Glenwood, but not be stranded the entire, but I don't need it. And I guess just some of those, who needs a bus to Aspen and back? Like we've been talking about some of this stuff where I'm really curious. We're really curious. We're trying to figure out how to get the data. Getting the good data pool is really hard too. But that's something I wonder, like, what would you use if it were available? If you could have anything? Because my answer is I never ride the bus. But that's because I don't ride the bus right now because it's not meaningful. So just a thought, like if we want to help people, like what do they want? What would be helpful?
And before you answer that, I am a little bit of an opposite of that because even recently my husband, we are family of 4 drivers now, and there was that time in between we had 3 cars. And my husband, he was so sweet, he opted to take the bus so my daughter could drive the car, which is super sweet, but we saw ourselves in that situation not only once, maybe the car breaking down, or unfortunately there were accidents that we didn't have a car for a period of time. So having public transportation, even when I was working in Glenwood, I relied on that to get to Glenwood. And yes, the timing was challenging. So I come a little bit from the opposite of that example. And something else, a couple of things that does touch my heart is, getting youth to and from they need to be so that they can participate on sports, so that they can visit friends, taking them out of screens and connecting with people. That truly speaks to my heart, and being able to participate in those sports. A lot of parents can relate with this as far as dropping your kids off to and from sports. My daughter, she was very versatile, talking to her friends, asking a friend to pick her up, drop her off, and she got through it. That's why she's so thankful she can drive now. But those are the 3 points. Yes, there are times, and there were times that I needed it, and I was glad that it was available. And getting people outside to those, outside activities and outside of their home, and to the factor of getting youth to where they need to be.
Yeah, I think the data is one thing to see circles, but I do think the conversations you had outside of those circles are probably more important. I think there's a need for public transportation. I'm born and raised in Glenwood. I remember the very first trolley they had to get you from Pizza Hut to the mall.
I remember those things too, yeah.
But I've always seen that public transportation either has to be subsidized to a point that makes it unreliable, and it has to get scaled back, or it completely fails. So I think it's going to take this board, you guys, Rifle, Newcastle, to come up with something outside the box. The status quo just doesn't work anymore. Everybody needs it for a different reason. I can't jump on the bus and go to work because I can't take my van full of tools with me on the bus. So I have to be a driver. Could an employee of mine that's just a helper, can he ride the bus? Probably, because he's not bringing those tools with him. So it is a good conversation starter, and we'll see. The more people that get involved, the better the solution's going to be.
Mm-hmm. To that end, more of those committee meetings. The one that we had here in this very chamber a couple of months ago was very constructive, robust discussion about a number of different factors. Now you add this data in, and future committee meetings I could see starting to talk about realistic next steps. Have someone from City Market in the room, have someone from Walmart in the room, or Grand River or Valley View, CMC, and start talking about how do we build this together. I think the mayor makes a great point. It's not a one or the other. I think it's got to be a conversation about how, not if. So I would urge you to have more of those meetings and invite more people to participate. Sooner or later, you're gonna come up with a solution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you coming
Thank you,
in.
everybody that came to support them.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Now they're all leaving. We're not popular anymore. Dude, that was a good 20 minutes, though.
We can talk about buses more.
We still have fun stuff left.
Do we?
Depends on what you think is fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the Nicole Show.
Yeah. I actually forgot about those trolleys, to be honest.
Yep.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So, Sheila, as everyone shuffles out of the room, on our continued public hearings, do we need to go ahead and open the public hearing, or can we just do a continuance to the next date?
If you can just do within your motion to continue the public hearing, I would be fine with that.
Okay.
Make a motion to change it.
So on those ones, we'll just have to make a motion to continue without opening the public hearing. Okay. All right. Then the next item on the agenda is resolution number 36, series 2025, a resolution approving the second amendment to the development agreement, Lot 2, Village at Painted Pastures. We've had a continuance requested by the applicant.
Correct.
Okay.
you want me to elaborate on anything?
Uh,
There's two resolutions. There's Resolution 36, which amends the development agreement, and then Resolution 37, which amends the subdivision improvement agreement. Between our attorneys and their vacations, we were not able to get the applicant the documents to review with a sufficient time for him to get them to the other entities that own Lot 1 and 3. This is specific to Lot 2, and then a lot line adjustment with Lot 3. So he requested additional time to have legal counsel review, and the town staff agrees that time frame is needed for when they receive the documents.
Okay. Do we have a date that we're shooting for?
If we could continue it to October 27th, they will be ready by that point in time.
Okay. All right.
Can we do it in one motion, or does it have to be two separate motions? Sorry, I
I
can't
think
remember.
the one motion, I think, can it?
Sheila, can we motion these as together, or do we need two separate motions?
I'll need two separate motions since it's two separate resolutions.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, so Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to continue resolution number 36, series 2025 to the October 27th meeting.
Second.
Motion by trustee Engelhardt to continue resolution number 36, series 2025 to the October 27th meeting, seconded by trustee Seifert. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Do the next one too. Okay, so and I will also make a motion to continue resolution number 37, series 2025 to the October 27th date.
I'll second.
All right. Motion by trustee Engelhardt to continue resolution number 37, series 2025 to the October 27th meeting, seconded by trustee Clausen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Next up is the second reading of ordinance number 10, series 2025, an ordinance of the town of Silt, Colorado, creating various sections within Title 17 regarding the regulation of mobile food vendors of the Silt Municipal Code within the town of Silt, Garfield County, state of Colorado. Turns over to Director Centeno.
Alrighty, the town adopted a food truck moratorium to enable town staff to develop a code in which we would regulate the operations of mobile food vendors. On September 22nd, the Board of Trustees approved the first reading of Ordinance 10, Series 2025. This presented tonight would be the second reading. Nothing has changed. I did put a recommended motion in the summary, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right.
I don't have any questions.
No.
Okay. Nothing? All right, then I will do the public hearing. The time is 8:37 p.m. and I will open up the public hearing for the second reading of ordinance number 10, series 2025. Persons desiring to make a public comment on this agenda item, please activate the raised hand function in the meeting program. Or Sheila, any phone calls or emails in regards to this agenda item?
No, I did not hear from anyone.
Okay,
I do not show any raised hands, Mr. Mayor.
thank you. Would anybody in the public like to speak to this agenda item? Okay. The time is now 8:38 p.m. and I will close the public hearing and open up to further discussion by the board or a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 10, series 2025 as presented.
Second.
Okay. Motion by trustee Seifert to approve the second reading of ordinance number 10, series 2025 as presented. That was seconded by trustee Britnell. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to step out for the next three resolutions.
Okay. We'll snag you when we're done.
Do these have to be done separately as well?
They do.
Yeah, because they're all separate items, ordinances. So the next item up is the second reading of ordinance number 11, series 2025, An ordinance annexing the town, to the town of Silt, Colorado, certain real property owned by Spencer Charles Holdings, LLC, and known as Go Rentals Annexation. Turn this over to Director Centeno.
Alrighty, I'm gonna do a quick presentation that's gonna encompass Ordinance 11 and 12, and then Resolution 32. And then I'll answer any questions you might have, and then you guys can do the, each reading separately.
Okay.
So a quick overview. Go Rentals has been in front of the trustees a couple of times at this point. They received an approval for Resolution 21 of 2025 for substantial compliance for annexation. And then they completed the 30-day public notice requirement. And then with Resolution 31, series of 2025, they were approved for the findings of fact on September 8th. On September 22nd, we did the first reading of Ordinance 11, which is for annexation, and the first reading of Ordinance 12 for the zoning. Both were approved by the Board of Trustees. Tonight, we will be doing a second reading of Ordinance 11 and 12, in which nothing has changed. And we are also doing the Resolution 32, first and only reading, approving the annexation and development agreement. There are recommended motions on the summary as well as the staff report. And I just wanted to highlight the conditions of approval that town staff recommends to the Board of Trustees that you approve the second reading of both ordinances and the resolution for the annexation and development agreement, with the conditions that all written and verbal statements by the applicant, both in the application and public meeting, be considered conditions of approval unless modified, and that the applicant provides any additional requested documents and pay any remaining fees, and that the applicant conforms with the town, state, and federal requirements, including but not limited to what is outlined in ordinances 11 and 12, that the water right dedication of the ditch shares be dedicated to the town at the time of final plat, and that is noted within the development agreement, and that the applicant records the plat within 30 days of final approval, and that the applicant then proceeds to apply for the special use permit and site plan review that'll be seen at the Planning Commission with the recommendation to the Board of Trustees for final decision. All of the ordinances are attached to the end of the staff report as well as the development agreement, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, the applicant and the applicant's planner are both in the room as well, that I'm sure that they would be happy to answer any questions you would have as well.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions?
I do not.
I have no questions.
Not
None
bad.
here, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
No major changes since the first reading, so.
Yeah. Okay. Since the applicants are here, is there anything you'd like to step up to the table and add?
I'll step up to the table. I'm Brad Jordan, Jordan Architecture. I've been online for the last several meetings. Justin Sanford.
here.
Spencer Charles Holdings is the property owner. It's been a long, drawn-out process, but we're happy to be making progress, and Nicole's done a great job of furthering it and making sure that we have all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed, or vice versa. So we're very pleased with where we're at, and hopefully we can continue moving forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And I'm Justin Sanford, so nice to meet you all. Thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you for being here.
These are, anything you'd like to add before we do the public hearing on this first one?
I do not believe so, no.
Okay. All right. We get to listen to me sound like a record now, so as we move through these. The time is now 8:43 p.m. and I'll open up the public hearing for the second reading of ordinance number 11, series 2025. Persons desiring to make a public comment on this agenda item, please activate the raised hand function in the meeting program. Or Sheila, any phone calls or emails in regards to this agenda item?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I show no raised hands.
Thank you. Would anybody in the public like to speak to this agenda item? Okay. Time is 8:44 PM, and I will close the public hearing and open up to further discussion by the board or a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 11, series 2025, as written.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Clausen to approve the second reading of ordinance number 11, series 2025 as presented. That was seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Hanrahan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So next up is the second reading of ordinance number 12, series 2025. An ordinance of the Town of Silt, Colorado zoning as business industrial B1, a 5.49 acre tract of land located on River Frontage Road, south of I-70 in Garfield County, known as Go Rentals, within the Town of Silt, Colorado. You've already presented, so any discussion?
Nope.
Questions by the board? Nope. Anything the applicant would like to add to this? Okay. Time is 8:45 PM, and I'll open up the public hearing for the second reading of ordinance number 12, series 2025. Persons desiring to make a public comment on this agenda item, please activate the raised hand function in the meeting program. Or Sheila, any phone calls or emails in regards to this agenda item?
No, sir.
I show no raised hands, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Would anybody in the public like to speak to this agenda item? Okay. Time is 8:46 PM, and I will close the public hearing and open up to a motion or further discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion approving the second reading of ordinance number 12, series 2025, as written.
Second.
Okay. Motion by trustee Clausen to approve the second reading of ordinance number 12, series 2025 as written. Seconded by trustee Britnall. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And last up, we have resolution number 32, series 2025. A resolution of the Town of Silt approving the annexation and development agreement for the Go Rentals annexation within the Town of Silt, Garfield County, State of Colorado. Anything to add to this one?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Any discussion by the board?
No, sir.
Okay. Time is 8:46 PM, and I will open up the public hearing for resolution number 32, series 2025. Persons desiring to make a public comment on this agenda item, please activate the raised hand function in the meeting program. Or Sheila, any phone calls or emails in regards to this agenda item?
No, Mr. Mayor.
I show no raised hands.
Thank you. And anybody in the public like to speak to this agenda item? Okay. All right. Time is 8:47 PM, and I will close the public hearing and open it up to further discussion by the board or a motion.
Someone else's turn.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 32, series 2025 as written.
I'll second.
Yeah.
All right. Motion by trustee Poston to approve resolution number 32, series 2025 as written. That was seconded by trustee Engelhardt. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right.
Thank you, guys.
We're getting
Thank you,
closer.
gentlemen.
Yes, thank you guys for being here tonight. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
So much.
We'll see you
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Good to see you.
Okay. Next up, we have the offer to become a priority partner with Roaring Fork Valley Habitat for Humanity for 1455 M Avenue. Turns over to Manager Ming.
Okay, Roaring Fork Habitat for Humanity approached us that the unit that they own at 1455 M Avenue, which is half of a duplex, is vacated. And was wondering whether the town wanted to become a priority partner, which would essentially give us the right of first refusal when the unit is open to help place a member of the organization in that unit. Their ask is for the town to purchase that right for $50,000, which is essentially what they need to do some improvements to the property between now and the next time they rent it out. And they were hopeful that the town might join in an effort to have some additional housing that it could offer to its employees, qualified employees, et cetera, going forward. It's a way for us to say we've got another housing unit that's available. It doesn't do anything to add to our Prop 123 numbers that we're supposed to create, because it's already an existing deed-restricted housing unit within the town. And so they approached us. I told them that I would bring it up to you. Obviously, I took a picture of it, kind of walked around. It's a nice little unit, if you haven't seen it. But it's entirely up to the Board of Trustees whether you'd like to continue that discussion, whether you'd like me to perhaps have a discussion with another partner and say, hey, we can buy this. The two of us can buy it. And I mentioned that to say maybe it would be Garfield RE2 or Grand River or somebody, CRFR.
But if we pay the 50,000 now, it gives us that as a tool, right?
We are guaranteed to have first right of refusal to place somebody in that unit. They go through the steps to buy it essentially, and they live there, and then when they move, then we again have first right of refusal. If we don't place somebody in the unit, then they open it up to the general public.
And we own that first right of refusal in perpetuity.
In perpetuity.
Plus, it's an asset that we can sell for $50,000.
In theory, yes.
To a hospital. Or
yes, in theory.
In theory.
But with the 50, it only gives us first right of refusal in terms of a purchase. We would have to buy it outright if we wanted to use it for own it and rent it, say to an interim police chief, for example.
Yes.
Okay.
But would Habitat allow that?
They would. It's currently deed restricted, so it would come with the deed restrictions, but they did, as they indicated, some of the restrictions they would be willing to negotiate.
Oh, okay.
And I will tell you, just from my personal opinion, deed restricted properties is a horrible financial model for the town to get too involved with. If you deed restrict all the properties in town, then they can only grow at 3%. That's problematic.
That's not good, yeah.
Yeah. But if we're doing some of
Is there a
them.
good level?
I think the whole deed restriction model is just flawed from the get-go. There are other better ways to help people out into housing. And that would be including down payment assistance, that, becoming an equity partner in the purchase of the property, so that when that individual or that family then chooses to move, their investment has grown at the same rate as every other property investment. They get the benefit from that. What deed restriction does is, while everybody else's property is going up 6 or 8%, yours is stuck at 3%. So even though you're increasing your equity, the cost of other housing is outpacing, and you may never be able to move out of that deed restricted housing. And that's one of the flaws of the program. I don't have necessarily the solution of what the best solution is.
They're all kind of artificial
Yes.
impositions on the market, right?
I would rather, I'd rather say we become, instead of deed restriction, we become just an equity partner.
Just to own the employee housing.
Or a portion of it.
Right.
So the 50K would be used to subsidize a down payment, for example.
Basically, the 50K, what they're asking is that we write them a check for $50,000. They're going to turn around and fix it, upgrade it. And then we get first right of refusal to say, oh, we have this interim police chief that might be interested in buying it, or we have an officer that might be interested in buying it.
Have any
And-
staff expressed an interest in buying it?
Haven't had many conversations with that because I wanted to have this discussion before we opened up the conversation to any employees. I didn't want to lend a false sense of, hey, this is
Say,
something
that
we're
could
going
be,
to
could be
do.
very frustrating to someone if you were to offer
Right.
them and they
But-
get excited
Hope,
and then we
squash.
go, nope,
Yeah.
not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Crush their dreams.
Yeah, we really, no, yeah. So I wanted to have this discussion first before we did start to have other discussions. And, you know, the difficulty, and Director Lundin and I were talking about this, even at a $300,000 purchase price for this property, many of our entry-level employees would have a difficult time being able to finance. And we would move them into that 30%, category where more than 30% of their income is paying for the mortgage, which puts them in a very difficult position. So it's, again, I don't have a solution for that issue either, unless we're gonna give everybody big raises, which financially we aren't necessarily in the position to do. But this would be something that we could offer. It's only gonna take care of one employee.
I think the better
Yeah.
thing is to let the employees know that this unit may be available through Habitat and have them directly contact Habitat.
They wouldn't, the priority partner means that our employees would move to the top of the list. If they're not already on the list,
There's probably already a list.
they're coming in at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's already a list, then
But we would, if we became the priority partner, our people then would bump up to the top of the list.
But they have to
So-
already be on it.
What?
No.
They have to
No,
already
No.
be on it?
no.
No, any employee of ours would be
In the
number
future.
one on the
They
list.
can,
because
they
we
can
have
move
first
to
right of refusal
the,
basis.
they can move to the front of the line without even being on the list right now
For 50 grand.
for this property.
Would it serve as a good tool, going back to your comment about the school system? Would it serve as a good tool to work with the school system?
I haven't had that conversation. I don't have that answer with you.
I don't know, I could see why, if the town's gonna put out $50,000 to help one school teacher.
I don't know how many are on the
That's-
school's
that
list.
seems, I mean, just to help one person seems a little unfair in the whole grand scheme of things.
I'm thinking of it more along the lines of a negotiation in the future with the school district, where we would add that.
That
And to
to
say,
the-
hey, as one of the things that we can do as part of this negotiation, we will give you this. It has a $50,000 like empirical value,
to it.
but your organizational value may be much more
Much more
because
than-
you're
yeah.
trying to find
Well,
places.
I'd rather give the school district 50 grand.
But,
But then you only
and
solve it once.
Yeah.
If you
Oh,
give them this, you solve it with at least one housing unit in perpetuity.
pros and cons, 50,000, you've got one housing unit in perpetuity. Would the Board of Trustees be better taking a policy decision to say, hey, we're gonna take that $50,000 and we're gonna make it available to help down payment assistance and become an equity partner in somebody else's property? And maybe now you help 2 or 3 or 5 employees.
It was like, they said
obtain
when the
housing.
property sells, we have first right again. So what if a person works for the town of Silt, they would take this opportunity, they buy the house, and then they terminate their employment with the town of Silt? We don't have option to put somebody else in there until they choose to sell it, correct?
Correct.
That could be a problem.
Yeah.
I'm with Mr. Mayor on that one. I feel
They have a
like
problem in
on the long-term model for affordable housing, we can come up with a plan, but on this particular one, being just one housing unit at 50,000 seems a huge outlay.
I do like,
For one unit.
I do like the equity partner though, because then if they leave the town of Silt, they sell the house, then
The money comes
We
back.
still have to wait until they sell the house to get it, so it could be 20 years, 30 years down the
Exactly,
road.
yeah.
then your 10,000 could be worth
True.
Yeah.
100,000 by the
Well,
way.
and we
Or
could
the
do that
assist-
though as a model for employees.
The assistance could depend on employment. the contract would say when you sever your employment, you have to sell the house, and then each party gets an equitable stake in the
Or you
value.
have to refinance.
Or you'd have
Or
to-
refinance it yourself.
Yeah.
There's a,
You get
there's
reimbursed.
I think there's a number of concepts that if this is something the board is interested in exploring, this is one concept, but maybe there's a better
Better
concept.
concept out. I think there's probably a better concept than this specific one.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Plus, if someone's been on the Habitat list for 5 years and then we throw an employee in there.
And they live here as a
and they
renter,
live
but
here
they
as a
don't
renter,
work for
but
the
they
town.
don't work for the town. and
I'm
they
not
could-
opening that mail.
They could, yeah.
It's gonna tick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I do think that now we've sparked
I
some
mean-
other conversations.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll communicate back with Roaring Fork that we really don't have an interest in becoming the priority partner
At this time, but.
at this
have that-
time, and, but we're gonna explore some other options.
Yeah, I mean, I like the concept of helping out the employees, but this doesn't seem to be the right fit.
No.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Manager and staff reports.
Okay, I'll be very, well, Amy's rolling her eyes already. I'll be brief. I have a request from the Salvation Army for an opportunity for the town organization to be adopt a day of bell ringing. It could be we take a day at one of their locations. It could be just a group of employees volunteer, but they're looking for volunteers, and they reached out to see if the town would have any interest in signing up and helping out their annual effort. So I bring that up. I don't know if you have any comments on it. The other, I think if you do, it's probably worth, it's either an individual thing that you're going to volunteer on your own, and I can get you that information, or if we're going to do it as an organization, it probably is a bigger discussion that goes on the next agenda.
Can we force staff to do it?
Yeah, who is rolling your eyes or her eyes?
In their free time?
Yeah.
All none of it?
All none of it.
When you're not in here until 9:30 at night for meetings?
What dates are they looking to start that? Is it?
The kickoff is the 1st of November from 1 to 3 p.m. at New Hope Church in Newcastle.
I was just thinking that possibly, I mean, if they wanted to put a kettle, maybe somebody would be interested in ringing it at the event, like the tree lighting thing or something, because that'd be where there's gonna be a lot of people down there, and be a way somebody could do it locally here.
That's a good idea.
I feel like donating time to the Salvation Army is an individual choice.
Yeah, no, that's something I would do, but we could
Yeah,
possibly see if people wanted to sign up to do it during that time, and people were to take shifts at something like that, there'd be a lot of community.
But I love your idea about having them at the tree lighting. I think they may get a lot more from that singular event than they would from me ringing a bell for 2 hours.
People might
I'll
get you to stop
guarantee
ringing
you
the
that,
bell.
right? It'd be a deterrent to donating. No, that's a great idea.
I would do it in the tree lighting event, just.
All right, I'll communicate that, and Dr. Centeno and I will reach out to them about perhaps attending the tree lighting. Last thing, we have received a couple of complaints, police-related, driving the wrong way in a subdivision, and then ATV, UTV use, and there was some, I think, maybe some lack of communication in there, but I can report that we did have officers respond to both incidences, and they did try to reach out to the reporting party, of which they didn't get an answer. They didn't catch anybody because they drove away. I think it will be something that we'll have to add some additional community policing efforts on. One thing that we had a discussion on today with the interim chief of police was that when our officers call somebody, the number comes up as unknown. If you're like me, most of the time I don't answer an unknown phone call. I'm just like, leave a message.
No, usually if you've reported something and
And
you're
then I'll-
expecting a response from the police department, you might at least answer the unknown one the
You
next time or
might,
two,
but
'cause that's-
in this case, they didn't.
No, and
They
it's
didn't- they didn't
understandable they didn't.
respond.
Or they may have
So,
just-
We're gonna work to change when PD calls somebody that it says Silt PD. And that it just doesn't come up
That'd be
as
helpful.
unknown. And,
Yeah,
and
no,
so
that's a good
that's one thing we're gonna work on. We did talk to some kids that were running UTVs, where they shouldn't be. They were new to the community, according to them, and were not aware of the rules. Now they are aware of the rules. We still have an incident where we've got somebody running their UTV up the radio tower hill across from the cemetery. That's one we're working on. I'm trying to narrow down who it is that's actually doing the UTV or the ATV up there.
I know that we flagged people down, when people were playing horseshoes, we flagged kids and people down and had conversation. When our guys had conversations with the kids, just like, hey, I don't mind you riding them, but be responsible, be respectful of the people.
Well,
that
and
type of
it's,
stuff.
I think we've had issues where they're I think Director Centeno's had kids running them through the park, and it's like, not this side of the park, go over to the other side of Roymore
Yeah.
and run it there if you're gonna have to run it, but stay off the play fields. So.
But they're softer.
Yeah, I know.
Are parking issues, because if speeding's number one, parking is probably number two. Is that going to also be prioritized with the incoming interim police
We're
chief?
gonna have a lot of discussions
Yeah.
about what priorities are. And we had very good discussion today. The interim police chief, Gress, was not available to be here tonight. And I didn't force him to come tonight because he would have had to spend about 6 hours in the car. So I said no. But he will be here tomorrow, and we'll get things rolling in terms of how we're going to move forward. First and foremost is, his role is going to be triaging the department, similar to what Jeff Lehman did in terms of, all right, what are our immediate needs? What do we really need to take care of first out of the gate? Obviously, we've heard several citizen comments about speeding, and we're going to have to spend a little bit more time on that. We also are probably going to need to do more speed studies to really know where we're supposed to focus our attention. And then, again, interim Gress has said, statistically, we need to know whether we're making a difference. If we're not making a difference, if we're not actually changing the behavior, then we have to do something different.
Change, either make them, the repercussions more painful or.
Yes. So that's all I have, unless anybody has a question for me.
No, with the speeding, this is quick, is I know like we have the ones on the ends of Main Street are coming into town that have those. Do we have any of those portable signs that have this flash? I know that we used to have one, but do we have any of those at all?
That speed trailer
Yeah.
that's no longer exists.
How much are those?
Yeah, do we need
Is
a
that
budget
something to
for
look
it,
at
John?
maybe? Is you could move it around town a little bit and that will draw people's attention to their behavior versus just driving down the road. Because I know that there's times where I'll be driving somewhere and I'm like, oh wow, didn't realize I was going. I was driving to Grand Junction today, 4-lane road, thinking going with the flow of traffic, and
I know.
you're all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait, that's not what the speed sign said. Right?
There's a continuum of trailers. There are those that just flash at you and tell you you're going too fast, and then there are others that are recording data and
Or we
telling
just
you.
do the speed cameras. There's your ticket in the mail.
But don't do speed cameras.
I will look at mobile speed signs.
We just
or
get some ideas on
trailers.
prices and some just for. I mean, it's budget season. Be something to think about.
Okay.
That's all I have.
I was going to offer my time for the Youth Zone Board, if you want to forward my name to Ms. Hayes.
I will do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else want to, got anything?
Just want to let you know, 8th Street's moving along. They still have plans on having it done by Thanksgiving, so they'll have it done.
Again, that doesn't affect the asphalt, or could it?
Usually we can get asphalt
Okay.
around Thanksgiving as long as the weather cooperates.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
No, it looks good. The progress then that they've made looks good.
Anything you'd like to add, Director Centeno?
I do not, other than save the date. Trick or treat is coming up, and our tree lighting.
Are the surplus vehicle auctions, is that online or is that only in person?
In person.
Okay. All right. Okay. Updates from the board comments. Trustee Poston?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank you, everyone that has been coming in here and participating and voicing their opinion. This for public government, it's just so important. It just helps us reassure when having those discussions and making priorities and making the plans. It helps reassure the needs of the community. I'm very, very thankful to have had a full room here today. You are the community. This is your room, and you are always welcome. Thank you very much.
Trustee Miller?
Thank you. I enjoyed Laugh Your Tail Off. Made a couple of small purchases for charity, but there were some people who spent a lot of money there, and it was quite the thing to see. And I very much look forward to our events always. The Halloween and the tree lighting in Silt are really great. So thanks everybody for all of that.
Trustee Britnell?
Yeah, a lot of the talk today about obviously speeding and stuff. So just slow down, because the last thing that anybody ever wants is to have an accident or have somebody be injured by someone driving. As far as like the SUVs and stuff, like the sport utility vehicles and stuff, when they're driving through town, yes, I mean, first of all, you're supposed to follow the traffic laws because you're in a vehicle, but also remember that they tend to be louder and they're not designed for in-town use. So when you're putting around town is a great idea, but just, I mean, you don't want to disrupt your neighbors, so try to be respectful of everybody else.
Okay. Trustee Clausen?
Yeah, all I was going to say is please watch your speed and all the road signs, and don't drive like jackasses.
There you go.
Technical term.
Yeah, technical
Yes,
term.
exactly.
All right. Trustee Seifert?
Nothing. I guess I talked to you about the signs by Shell, so I don't know if you related it to him on the
ones that were hit?
The ones that are missing.
Yeah.
That's about all. That's all I got.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem?
Two good events last week. Want to give props to the chili cook-off. You think that you're not going to eat much chili because it's in these tiny little cups. There were 24 tables of chili. It adds up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just leave it at that. But delicious chili, super sweet. Then a nice older lady won People's Choice Award. She had no flair, no corporate branding, nothing, and won the People's Choice Award, apparently in a landslide, which I think speaks well of the larger community. And the Laugh Your Tail Off event is always fun. It's a huge event. Just great to see everybody out and enjoying the environment and enjoying each other. And it's good to see some of you outside of this chamber as well. That's it for me.
That's it. Okay. Everybody hit all my points, so I got nothing. Next item is adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion by Trustee Seifert to adjourn the meeting. We're going to give the second to Trustee Clausen. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, have a great night, everyone.
See everybody all in a couple weeks.
Maybe I'll just leave that open.